Hi, I'm here with Matteo Tangi in beautiful Ubud in Bali. We just met for the first time yesterday actually, but we had a really wonderful conversation which revealed many interesting topics which I would like to share with you. I think there is some incredible wisdoms and I feel enlightened since our conversation yesterday. So to start with, I really thought the model which you presented for thinking about human interaction, human communication in terms of four levels. Can you explain a little bit again how you see it?
With pleasure. So what I was sharing with you is that when we want to build community, when we want to build interaction, we need to realize that we are formatted by the society, which is very focused on the intellectual. So in the intellect, in the way of using language to interact. So I need to understand you and you need to understand me. But there are different levels where actually the interaction and the communication might happen. So if you go to the root of how the human brain is structured and also how the humankind has been evolved, we have this root with what is called the reptile brain, which doesn't work with language. It works with different chemistry. We work with understanding on a subconscious level of what you are experiencing, what am I experiencing. If I'm perceiving you sweating on the forehead, am I interacting in a different way? And the thing is, when you have a project, and then you might have a conflict at some point. Many times we try to solve it using our intellect, but what actually the conflict might be, the really core one, the one that actually break community, break projects apart, they might be at the reptile level. It might be a matter of jealousy or emotions or of the fact that I really don't manage to communicate with you. You can do whatever. We can sit here in front for hours and I still have this, I don't manage it. So what can we do in order to go at that level and support that level? So what are the dynamics that support a connection also on a reptile level? And there's not just reptile, there is also another level which is more the feeling level. So this has been also developed among the millennials, and yeah, it happens in a way of, can you show me your sadness? If there is something that I do that creates sadness in you, do you manage to show me that? Do you manage to show me your anger without judging it as anger is wrong or anger is bad or we shouldn't express certain emotion because they are rude or whatever? Or if you feel fear for certain aspects, you manage to just be with that fear and be in connection with fear? Or immediately there is a pattern that runs and like, okay, I'm feeling fear, it's discomfortable, let me think, how can I not feel fear? And the same thing of, how can I communicate that? Do I think over my feelings? Do I try to, okay, let me think what I'm feeling, or I think I'm feeling, that doesn't work. In order for me to perceive what you're feeling, you need to feel it. But in order for you to feel it, you need to be okay with that feeling itself. So, yeah, the work I do for my life and also in my trainings is really about that, about supporting people to feel this part of their inner world. Same thing of the reptiles, same things of what I call also our shadows. So, can you be conscious of what are the impulses that drives you, more on a subconscious level? And can you bring them to consciousness? Can you share them? Can you be okay with that and transform it into something which is serving the community instead of hindering the community? And then there is this fourth level of evolution. So if we arrive to the third one, then there is the intellect. But we are all masters of intellect. We are trained, we do university, we read books. So I think we can skip it. The fourth level is on a level of we can say more on an energetic level. Some might say on a spiritual level. I prefer not to talk about spirit because there are so many concepts connected with that. Religion, spirit means Buddhism. No, it means whatever. So
I definitely see us all struggling with coming up with some kind of a neutral way of talk about this spirit, this level, without pulling in all of the memes and associations that are might be positive or negative, but are certainly very strong.
And I think the first step is acknowledge the fact that we are in a phase of human evolution where we are working with that as babies. There are cultures, maybe the Hindu culture, that has been working since millennials or maybe hundreds of years with the third eye, with the chakras and things, and they have their own lineage to tackle it. And if you go to South America, they were using cacao and ceremonial medicines in order to connect with this power. And Western culture wiped out all of this because it's not controllable, it's not so scientifically clear. And now with the new age, and now with more of a way of really holistic way of seeing the human body, we are trying to integrate it back. But we are really babies with that. So having the assumption that I know how this fourth energetic body work is a bullshit, literally. It's so etheric, it's so subtle that really I need humbleness to tackle such a thing. And yet I need a space for that. I need a space to connect with you where non-verbal can happen and another form of communication can happen, where I perceive the energy that I spread in my space, or in a space. If we are living in the same house, what is the way the space interact with our energies? And there are nice exercises that really show concretely the difference of using the energy in a certain way or in another way. And it's not like pseudoscience, or exercises that we can do with another person and you will see it right away, you will feel it.
Yeah. So this is to me, as somebody who hopes to build a community, to build a village, the interesting part is how can we think and be conscious of these four levels. The reptile, which I also heard you say, the body level, I really like that other way of calling it, the body, the feeling instinct, of course the thought level, and also the spiritual level. How can we design rituals, practices, ceremonies in a community which take into account that all of these levels exist and they all need to be honored, and we need to have practices where we improve our interaction, our communication with all of these levels. I really love that idea. I think it really adds a lot of intellectual value and intellectual. It adds a lot of tools to somebody who's designing or thinking of building a community, in terms of thinking of what you need to know, what you need to be conscious of.
There is one thing that maybe is worthy to mention, which is this, what we were writing there at the left, is masculine and feminine. And the fact that in the last centuries we have been living in especially in the Western society, in a world which was very based on the masculine, and where the masculine, or the male actually, had a lot of privilege, and female was really, really compressed and repressed in a role of almost servant of the male. And then of course this, with the freedom, with the new level of consciousness, has been rising up, and the female came out with anger with that, and almost like attacking the man. And I really invite this power of the female, which is way more connected with the second level, the level of the feelings, to bring this beauty in it, to really support men into learning this, instead of attacking like you are too much in your head. It's so true. Yet sometimes we don't know how to do it, and we really need the inspiration of women for that, of initiated women, that they can hold space for a man that is not initiated yet in any sort of feeling.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I also feel that a lot of what I see as the struggles in the world today is all about finding balance between different energies, between these different levels of communication, masculine and feminine, the needs of the environment and the desire for humans to grow. We're searching for balance in so many areas because there is so much that is out of balance. Cut.
Should I pause it?
No, it's okay.
Continue? Okay. So the other thing which we touched upon yesterday, and I would really love to hear your ideas on, is what are the skills, the personal and the group skills that somebody who would like to start a village, start a community, start a project needs to have. The person who wants to be a leader, the person who wants to be a vision holder.
Yeah, the trick is to all, because the person who's taking that responsibility is on charge to be an example. And in the moment this person is not, for example, is having a struggle, is not capable, for example, to express his sadness and to cry and to show himself or herself as vulnerable, then the example will be, even if it's not spoken, but is an unspoken space which is emotions or feelings are not welcome in the space. So this could be one aspect. It could be also on the shadows. If this person hasn't worked his patterns with money or with power, then this will be contaminating immediately the space. And people will feel entitled to also have that pattern open in the space or allowed it in the space. So I think the visionary or the leader really needs to have a strong self-work, and each leader or each group of leaders would need a dedicated team in order to support. You know, if you go back in time, there was a king and a queen, and there was always a counselor, somebody next to them that was not personally involved in the topic and was really there centered and giving support to them. And they were trusting this person like their life. And such a figure is so essential for a leader, because often the leader might take decisions that the village or the community might not resonate. They create division or create like, hey, what is this? And having somebody that, yeah, is there in service for him and listening and having a space of dialogue, a space of expression is so fundamental. So the leader has huge responsibility and needs also support because of this responsibility.
That's great. It's actually, I love what you're saying because it fits in very much with the idea of what we're trying to create with Village 3.0 and this Village 3.0 movement, which is trying to build up a network of support of people working on the project. Peer support, eventually a network of mentors, advisors. So it's good. We're going in the right direction. Good. The last thing I would love to hear you talk about is your main work in possibility management. I just found out about it yesterday, so I won't even try and summarize what it's about. But it sounds really wonderful and interesting and very relevant to people who are trying to take charge of their life, to redesign their lifestyle. Tell us more.
Okay. Yeah. So possibility management is a context of personal development, community development, and if you want, humanity development. And the core point was actually to support people who are already walking on the edge and trying to create a different culture, a next culture, to not fall in the same pattern over and over again. And the key point, the secret, the main purpose of the old possibility management is to support people in taking radical responsibility in all the aspects. It's about their inner world. Can I take responsibility of my own feelings? Can I say I feel anger because instead of saying like you make me angry. So instead of throwing you the responsibility of what I'm feeling, can I take ownership of it? And it's also about taking the responsibility for my choices, like what I'm buying, the clothes that I dress. What is am I taking responsibility for the energy that I put, the money that I use, the exchanges that I do, the relationship that I have, the communication that I have. And also on a bigger scale, do I see myself responsible for what is happening with the global warming? Or is something like, oh no, that's the government will take care. So to what I give responsibility, and to what instead I'm taking it.
So that's radical responsibility. And possibility management, what kind of exercises, programs, how does it work?
It works with initiatory processes. So we are talking about villages, and villages and communities as a history long like humankind. Everything was a tribe, everything was a village, everything was traditions. And there were initiatory processes in this traditional way, which was meant to keep the traditions as they are, to keep the village safe. So how you do that? You are a kid, you arrive to 14 years old, and you have an initiation in the role that you will take to serve the village and to serve that tradition, that lineage. So nowadays, that approach wouldn't work because we are in a fluid society. Everything is changing. It wouldn't work if I do the same job of my father. So what I need is to connect with my true authentic core and what is the manifestation, in which way I can serve something bigger, being truthful with myself. So this is what it's all about, and at the same time we need to reclaim those initiatory processes because again the Western society wiped them out because of course in the moment you are initiated, you are really truthfully going for your path, then you will stop buying bullshit. You will stop following what they tell you to do or to work, or you need to do university and then to earn money. No, you would think with really your head feeling with your heart and sense with your body. That means that, okay, no, actually university is not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is travel the world and really meet inspiring people. Or if I'm a man, I will meet inspiring men and realize what is the man that I want to be. And so on, so on.
Sounds great. And you run workshops or?
Yeah, I deliver trainings, and they are safe spaces where the individual in the group, so being witness and witnessing the other in support, can dive in these places where he can acknowledge the patterns that run his life instead of him running the pattern and using them, and also shift them. So what is the relationship that you have with your parents? Do you have a relationship of two adult beings that encounter themselves and meet? Or you have a relationship with which is the same one when you were a kid, where your mother treats you like a kid, even if you are 40 years old, 50 years old or more.
That one is hard to understand.
But you can. If you decided that you are going to treat your mother as an adult woman, then the old relationship changed. And the relationship, for me, was so important to see how this influenced my life and my relationship with my parents. And being capable to invite my father for a travel where we traveled together, we were talking about things that we would never talk before, was for me so inspiring.
Thank you.